let me switch topics to what I really want to talk about, which is me. How I fit into this. So later in life, here I am. I just had my 45th birthday. I do my best to manipulate growth hormone. I used to have growth hormone, and that the gold standard change or whatever standard change, I no longer qualified for it. And I have always lived by one policy, which is if I can get it from a doctor, I'm in. I will stop you right. If the doctor gives it, I'm going. So, and that's brought me problems in my life. It's still how I'm wired. I could no longer get the growth hormone. So then I got supplements. And the supplement, if I could think of the name of it, or if you give me a multiple choice.
MK677?
You got it. You got it.
Perfect. And a growth hormone secretagogue that you can get from a doctor through like HRT clinics and whatnot. That's going to naturally raise your IGF-1 levels and whatnot. People would call it like an oral growth hormone per se.
And by the way, I think it's working. I haven't been retested, but I do, like when I'm drying off, I got a mirror right there and I look over I think this is working a little bit. It's hard to know though, because I got in conjunction, I take the cream, I take the testosterone cream, and I started them both at the same time. And so I don't really have an ability to know yet. And I won't know for about another 4 weeks till I go in and get tested. But I think that I think it actually works.
I'm 100% certain it works. And I've used all of this stuff. So I've used growth hormone in the past, and I've used MK677. So people might say it's a SARM. It's not actually a SARM, but it's kind of looped into that. But MK677 is going to make you gain a fair bit of strength in water. Well, it doesn't lower your natural testosterone production. If you're doing the creams and the MK at the same time, it would be absolutely impossible to say which is working better than one or the other. If I had the choice, which I do, I'm on HRT. I take 140 milligrams of test a week, 100 milligrams every 5 days, what I'm doing right now. And so I love HRT for me. I mean, I had abused steroids for 10 years. And then I stopped and I'm like, well, my body's not producing testosterone anymore. I went to the doctor, endocrinologist. They gave me the prescription. And so I've been on that for many years now. And I'm able to maintain this amount of muscle while doing a lot of cardio. If I cut out my cardio, I would have more muscle than now. I've lost some muscle, but I mean, I'm 46 years old, almost the same as you. And it's definitely working. I'm personally not taking MK677 because there are some negative there are some negative health effects of any supplement, like even HRT. If you take too high of a dose, there's some negative things that could happen. So MK677, there's definitely positives from it, but there's potentially some negatives as well. And so I'm just trying to do everything optimally to be the best athlete I can be and to live the longest I can.
Okay. And by the way, on the creams, when I told you I'm brand new to that. I've always done the shot. The shot works. I know it works for 100 different reasons, but one thing I can just do, I can look in the mirror. I mean, I don't just have to go grab weights. I get acne. I get acne on my sides. I get it on my back, but that's one reason that I know that it's work. Okay. Yes. The testosterone's kicking in. I'm not getting that, Greg. I'm not getting that with the cream. And it's making me wonder, am I not getting the same dose here? And I even spoke to the doc. 2 clicks is what I'm supposed to do. He upped it to 3 clicks, but I'm still not getting the acne. Is the cream not have the same effect as the shot? That's my question.
The cream is depending on how much you put and how much you can absorb. Everyone's different. So some people 1 click, some 2, some 3. I've coached people taking this before as well. I'm personally a bigger fan of the injections, as you don't have to rub it on all the time and you know more what you're getting. Until you get your blood work back, you have no idea what it's doing. You can look at signs. You can see, are my muscles getting bigger? Do I look better in the mirror? But until you get your bioavailable testosterone levels done, your testosterone, like free testosterone, like what is your actual results? How is your estradiol? You won't know, is that the proper dose or not? Like for me, I went off of HRT for a while. I had a ruptured tricep tendon and had a surgery, and the doctor was saying, you should stop. So they stopped for a while. They tested my test levels and they were rock bottom, worse than like an 85-year-old. So then they put me on 100 milligrams. I did the test again. And I guess you're in the United States, so you would use nanograms per deciliter. So I was in the 400s, which is not bad, but then they upped the dose. And now at 140, I'm in the 700s, around 730 was where I was at. So until you get those numbers back, so if you're at 3 clicks and you get back the numbers and you're at 400, I'd be like, I want way more. But if you're at 1,000, that's really high. And the higher it is, the more chance that it could have a negative potential side effect on your health, on your heart in the future. The higher the dose, the greater the risk. And so my advice to you or to anyone, take the lowest dose of the supplements, MK677, testosterone creams or injectables, that makes you happy. If you're on that low, if you're on 3 clicks and you're like, I feel awesome, then that's the dose you should take. Even if 4 would make you feel more awesome, the lowest dose that you're happy with is the one that you should stick to because it has the lowest chance of having any potential negative side effects.
How do you feel when you see athletes that use? You've got a secret. They've got a secret, and one leads to their success. Maybe it even leads to their attitude. It makes them look great, but they come out and and everybody's got the same story, which every time somebody starts looking different, a guy that you see all the time, he's always on a new diet. He's always lifting more, even though you don't see him doing it. I mean, there's some real tells. And I know when I'm with my own. I know when I'm people that got the same secret that I used to have. But how do you feel about the people? Maybe they're not in sports anymore. They used to be. Maybe they're in Hollywood. And the reason I bring that up is they're not cheating anymore. They're not breaking any rule. They're listening to a doctor. They're using good science, and they are the proof of it. But they don't include that. They talk about I eat 7 meals a day. I cut down on my protein. I only do 1 scoop of white rice. It drives me insane. And I don't know what, but it does. It drives me insane. I think because maybe I grew up in the day of Hulk Hogan where I had a poster of him on my wall and that's how I wanted to look. And I was never going to get there if he wasn't going to tell me the actual ingredient. I put 20 years of my life on hold to try to get 24-inch pythons like this, all because he kept a secret from me. It drives me crazy. I'm just wondering how you feel about that. When you hear somebody, you know your own as well as I do, and they don't tell it.
Well, honestly, I was exposed to this at such an early age. And I'm going to be honest, I was 100% dead set against steroids. It was like, I hated it more than probably 99% of people. And then I would enter a competition and I would lose the overall championship to a guy that's 200 pounds of muscle and I'm 145. And I'm like, how is this even possible? But I'm not aware of steroids really at this time because this is in the early 90s. And then eventually they're starting to do drug tests and the results would come back in. And they would say, yeah, that guy failed. And then the magazine's coming out and it's saying, this is the winner. Greg Doucette second. I'm like, but that guy that beat me failed the drug test. They didn't care. They never made the announcement. So I really hated all this, but it's been so many years now that I've kind of gotten used to it. And for me now, I don't blame people for not telling people anything. Like if somebody's using steroids and looks amazing. So for example, somebody looks like me is using steroids and not saying it. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. Unless they lie about it and they say, I built this natural, check this out. If they're bragging about it, I don't like that. But if they're just, there's laws that people don't want to get caught. Like if I'm using cocaine, I'm not going to make a video and say, hey, last night I did a gram of coke. I'm not saying it because would somebody blame you? Do you announce that you've broken the law? So if they're not announcing it, I'd have no harm in them and not saying anything. But to go out and lie and say specifically, I don't do this and I'm telling you I'm natural, that is where I draw the line.
Sure. And I hear everything you're saying. And just to finish my own vent on this, I'm talking about the guys that aren't cheating. I'm talking about the guys that are not breaking laws. I'm talking about the guys who somebody tipped them off, told them, go see this doctor. They're going to get something they never heard of before called a blood draw. They're going to look at something they never heard of before called levels. They're going to believe the doctor and they're going to discover a very legal medication, something that helped them, that they could legally tell somebody else. It just brings them, they think it knocks them down. They think it knocks their hard work or their gains down. I think it's dishonest. And those guys all get caught. They all get outed. I have a lot more appreciation. I'll use Sylvester Stallone or I'll even use Suzanne Summers. Stallone, I can remember back when I was a little kid and didn't know what it was, went on David Letterman's couch and said the whole world needs to discover something called human growth hormone and eventually, hopefully it will be legal. And Suzanne Summers did the same thing. And then she talked about estrogen. But those guys get a full pass. Coach, they deserve a full pass. They told the truth and they're right. It's legal and it's helpful.
Absolutely. We need to get rid of the stigma. And I hope that like there's me and other people that are coming out and making videos and talking about this. And it's going to help reduce the stigma because I know a lot of people and I've coached a lot of people. Don't tell my wife, don't tell my husband, and they're on steroids. And and it's like low doses from their doctor and they don't want them to know because as soon as you say that, oh, I inject this. No one thinks that you worked hard and it just was just magically given to you, that it somehow takes away from you. What we need is guys who are actually on steroids that are huge names, The Rock, to come out and make a video and say, I've been on this dose of this for this many years and it shouldn't be stigmatized. That is what's going to make the difference. The super large Hollywood actors, the Thors and all the movie Marvel's characters, that is what's going to make the difference.
And I love that you use The Rock. We all like The Rock. The Rock talked about running for president. Greg, he would have won. Everybody likes The Rock, but that is a fine example. As a matter of fact, when I started this whole topic, that is the image that I saw in my head was The Rock. And I'm looking at him going, but Rock, this is legal. This is allowed. You're probably doing it appropriate. Quite frankly, I wouldn't know the difference between abuse and use, but if you're working with, I mean, it was just one of those things where if I do defer back to what Sylvester Stallone said, I was literally in the 6th grade on David Letterman's couch when he said, I'm on something called HGH and the whole world should know about that. This should be made available over the counter. It's just one of those examples where, yeah, when you do look at those Hollywood guys, you're not cheating. You're not breaking any rules. You're maintaining, you're getting better with age. Rock, you look better now at 50 than you did when you were on a full ride scholarship at 20 years old playing football. Tell people what you're doing. There is no shame in it. In fact, it's the opposite. People are going to be grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish The Rock could come out and say it, but I'm sure that it's either in their contracts, they can't say this for part of their movie acting, or perhaps they're on so many hot. I fully believe The Rock is on way more than just HRT. The way he looks now, I think he would have had to up the dose with his being as old as he is to do what he's doing. And I think that he potentially could be endangering his health. And we've had a lot of heart attacks and whatnot in the bodybuilding industry. A lot of people have been dying. It's been really bad. But imagine if somebody like The Rock gets a heart attack out of nowhere, and then they discover he was taken and makes a video. That is going to change the mindset of everybody.
Coach, I had one more question for you, but it was a personal question. The holy grail of PEDs, one, not a cocktail, not test and growth and maybe EPO like a lot of athletes do. If you were to have one and it's purely for looks, you want to put on a little muscle like everybody, you want to chew up some fat like everybody. What is the holy grail? And I've heard it's down to 2 between Anavar and Winstrol. I've tried Anavar, quite frankly, it's not the miracle people say it is. I've never tried. Am I even right? What's the holy grail?
And so, okay, technology glyph, Chael had to leave, but I'm going to finish the question. So as far as the best anabolic for building muscle, for the one that you should take for the rest of your life, obviously it's going to be testosterone. It's been studied for the longest period of time. People are prescribing it. Anavar, Winstrol can be hard on the liver. It's not the safest, can lower your testosterone levels. It's not something you can use year round. And if it's only for a couple months to cut up for the summer, it's still testosterone. It allows you to eat in a deficit while having steady blood levels of testosterone. If you, in fact, take Anavar or Winstrol, yes, it's going to help, but it can suppress your own body's natural production of testosterone. It's not really the best on the liver, and so it's only something you can use for a brief period of time. If you wanted to take something in conjunction to testosterone, I would say Mastrone and Primo would be great choices, as they don't cause a lot of water retention. They're not going to be harmful to the liver the way that the orals are. But after that, I would say probably Anavar. Not really a big fan of Winstrol. To me, Winstrol is like a poor man's Anavar. It's a lot cheaper, but not as safe. And so personally, I would go with Anavar as the oral. But if I'm talking about injectables, it's certainly going to be testosterone, and with perhaps Mastrone or Primo. And remember, not telling you to take any of this stuff. Always take everything based on what your doctor recommends you. Hope you liked the interview. Chael was a fantastic guest. It was fun to talk to him. Opened up a lot about things that happen in the sport. Hope you learned something. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Follow me on Instagram. Watch the top loop followed by the next. Also, the harder than last time supplements right behind my shoulder. Turkesterone and the likes. You can get those. Please click the link in the description. Subscribe. Click the bell button. Comment for the algorithm. And until next time, get my friggin' cookbook. And I'm out.